Well, I guess we'll just keep playing meaningful football games next on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everybody? This is Clint and Daniel, Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Thanks for being our first listen. Thanks for being an everydayer. And thanks to FanDuel.com for being today's title sponsor. FanDuel.com. Make every moment more on them in a second. But Daniel and I are here overreacting.
You mean,
to the
I'm
game.
sorry to cut you off. You mean FanDuel.com, the place that I went when Georgia was down 10-0.
What'd you do?
And placed a significant wager on Georgia money line plus 130? Is that what I did?
Well, yeah. You got juice when we were down 10-0.
Plus money just to
Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Vols, who, by the way, let's just run down some big hitters. Daniel makes money because he knows ball, because Tennessee, now stop me if you've heard this before.
Okay.
Tennessee still, against Kirby Smart, has not scored with their high-powered offense. They're all incredible wide receivers, Squirrel White, first-round draft picks, a quarterback that can throw the ball on a knee down the field 90 yards, hasn't scored more than 20 points on Kirby Smart. Not one singular time.
One time, Clint? Are you saying not one time?
I'm saying.
Are you saying that in 2024, they scored 17 points. In 2023, they scored 10 points. In 2022, they scored 13 points. In 2021, they scored 17 points. Are you saying that that same Tennessee team that has now lost to Georgia
how many times?
8 consecutive games?
That seems like a trend.
8 games, and Josh Heupel has never scored 20 points against Georgia, but that's okay because this Tennessee defense hasn't given up 20 points to any team all season long. Not a single team, Clint. This defense is loaded with first-round talent, and we got a bum for an offensive coordinator. And so know that bum ain't going to be able to put up 20 points on Tennessee.
This finger is pointed squarely at you, dog fan, because we're coming. I've been out here defending Mike Bobo with my life, just sitting in oncoming traffic
on that hill, dying.
Well,
Mike Bobo had a heck of a game tonight.
Turns out I got a lot more. The cavalry is here on the hill with me because Mike Bobo was absolutely cooking tonight. We're going to talk about him. But yes, Josh Heupel, Tennessee, 17 is what they can get to. That's their ceiling. The defense for Tennessee, that is, let me state, 2 things can be true. Daniel are famous for saying 2 things can be true at the same time. One, Tennessee has the best, most talented front 7 in the entire SEC. Full stop. And we put 30 on them.
Yeah. Put up 31 against this Tennessee team, including Clint, my favorite drive of the season. Like, Georgia receives the ball.
Yes, sir.
They're up 7 in this game. The game is still very much in the balance. Clint, before Georgia received the ball, up 7, Tennessee was going to go for it. Do you remember this? Tennessee was going to go for it on 4th and 4, I believe.
It was, yes.
Right?
Yep.
And then they got a false start penalty. And they ended up punting that ball away.
Yeah.
And that was not the right thing to do because Georgia took the ball and went 12 plays, 92 yards in 6 minutes and 21 glorious seconds off the clock in what can only be described as a Kirby death march to go up 14 points against the pathetic Tennessee defense. This Tennessee team cannot beat Georgia. Josh Heupel cannot beat Georgia. Tennessee fan, if you dare to be listening right now, but you beat Alabama.
Good for you.
You only have 2 losses on the year.
2.
That's pretty good.
2. That is pretty good.
Maybe you'll make the playoff.
Fingers crossed.
If you don't lose Vandy.
You end the season with Vandy, and by the way, I urge you, I would implore you to overlook that game.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it if I were you, because your team's not very good, because your coach is a fraud.
There it is.
And your quarterback is average as all get out.
Now, I will say this. He is athletic, not as athletic as others. Okay, he has some nice touch on a ball to put it on some people. I saw that in the pocket. He's got great arm action. Great. Sure. He's adequate, but he's not the second coming like y'all think he is. First, I'll say
this. He got a concussion last week, and your medical staff decided to trot him back out there on the field. And then, when in the fourth quarter, with about 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the game, he got up and didn't know where he was and staggered off the field.
And what'd y'all do?
And then you trotted him back out there onto the field again. Tennessee, that's on you. You're going to get this kid hurt. You want him to be the next Tua. Guess what? He's about to be the next Tua if your coaching staff has anything to do with it, because you're going to get the young man killed by putting him out there when his body is clearly at risk. Yeah. And just so you can try to win a football game, which you had no prayer of doing.
No, you didn't. You didn't. Even when we spotted you 10 again, Daniel went over to FanDuel because we said, no, we got this thing. Let's talk. Let's start with the offense. And let's start with my finger being pointed at all the Mike Bobo haters and all the Carson Beck haters. Oh, wait. The Carson Beck one, the finger is pointed squarely here. Okay. So I've been dying on the hill, Mike Bobo.
Together. We can.
I tweeted out today that a change needed to happen. We tried the change at offensive line. We tried change at wide receiver. We tried change at linebackers. Nothing was going on. I said we needed juice when we were down 10-0. I said we have to, for nothing else, to get a cultural shift happening. And no short time after I sent that tweet out, then Carson Beck.
What happened, Clint?
Tucks the ball. Starts running for a first down, sees a defender barreling down at him from the secondary, making eye contact and saying, let's play old Oklahoma drill, not new Oklahoma drill.
No, that's not even Oklahoma drill.
It's not. It's a faux.
We call it more like a Texas drill.
We call it more like Texas.
That's where you don't. No, sorry. That's where you only play unranked teams and win.
That's and then Texas beat your chest about being the best defense when you play.
Yeah. So you lose to every ranked team on your schedule. That's a Texas drill.
There it is, which you will lose to A&M at the end of the season.
You're going to catch a stray from me on this episode. By the way, no matter who you are, you're going to catch one from me. Okay?
Everybody.
I'm feeling all right.
Carson Beck tucks it. I send that tweet out. Carson Beck tucks it. And instead of sliding, instead of going away from contact, he lowers his shoulder and barrels through number 2 of Tennessee and says, I'm taking it to you, and gets up and has a little bit of Stetson Bennett swagger. And all of a sudden, I stand up and I say,
we rise in unison. We rise in unison.
Here we go. We knew enough football to know those types of plays change the trajectory of a game and a season. And sure enough, as we stand here today, that changed at minimum that game. And it could have changed our entire season. And if it does, I will forever remember that moment.
Georgia down 10-0 in that moment, going down to score their first touchdown of the game on that drive, critical play on that drive, changed the entire complexion of this game. And a testament to, you could say whatever you want about how he's played this year, and some of it's been very poor, but a testament to who Carson Beck is. He is a leader on this football team. He is a guy that is willing to put his body on the line, and people are willing to follow him, Clint. I think that's what speaks more to me than the way Carson Beck is able to play in this game is people on this team's belief in Carson Beck, this locker room's belief in who he is as a quarterback that really came out tonight. Kudos to him. We're going to talk more about his performance, more about the offensive line, who I thought probably the best game of the season, more about Arian Smith, who I think should be benched forever, more about the defense, who held Josh Heupel under 20 points, which is not even that impressive because it's literally the only thing Georgia knows how to do. More on all of that, but first we'll talk about these.
Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet meals site-wise at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $50 off with promo code COLLEGE. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouthwatering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off promo code COLLEGE. Minimum purchase apply. This offense absolutely showed out. Carson Beck put the team on his back. He is the dude. He is the leader. You saw the team rise to him, rally around him. He put that shoulder down, then everybody else started coming for him. We saw an improved offensive line. I want to talk about that next before we get to Aaron and then the defense. So let's talk about the offensive line. Ernest Green, it's nice knowing you, but you've been replaced, and you have no one to blame but yourself because you got whooped by Ole Miss so badly that a change in it happened. Freeling goes from right tackle to left tackle. Xavier Truss slides back out to right tackle, played some guard with Micah Morris and Tate Roush being injured. Tate being back, Fairchild being back, and all of a sudden, Freeling shifts over to left tackle. And what happened this game?
What a game.
Pass protection.
What a game for this offensive line. Now, could we run the ball to save our life, Clint? No, we could not. This Georgia team can't run the ball. We're never going to be able to run the ball. We can't run the ball. Forget about trying to run the ball. We can't run the ball. Nate Frazier had a few nice runs. For the most part, it was the same old Georgia running game. But Carson Beck was clean, Clint. In this pocket, he was clean all game long. I thought Nate Frazier did an unbelievable job at picking up in pass pro, something that we very much worried about on this podcast. Kudos to him. The freshman was able to play way more snaps than I thought he was going to be able to because of his ability to pass protect.
By the way, Josh James just put over on X, said, can we get some love for Monroe Freeling? Didn't get a hand on him, and I said, I just shouted you out, Josh. We just got done talking about him.
Monroe Freeling played unbelievably at left tackle in this game. The entire offensive line looks like they're gelling. It looks like they're coming together. You mentioned Tate Ratledge. Tate Ratledge is healthy again, Clint, and it is absolutely magical. One holding call from Xavier Truss, which was a real killer because he didn't need to do it. He could have let the guy go because it was a quick release anyway. He didn't need to hold, but one holding call from Xavier Truss. And I think other than that, in pass protection, I thought the offensive line was darn near perfect.
They were
in this game. And I mentioned it on Bleacher Report. Carson Beck has his best game of the season. I don't think there's any debate about that.
You might say the second half Alabama, but no, this was better.
This was better. And the offensive line has its best game of the season, Clint.
And what happens?
Oh, well, that's interesting. It's almost as if those two things go together a little bit.
That's interesting.
Carson Beck played great because he was well protected. He did not play great because all of his receivers know how to catch the football, Clint.
Look, let Arian Smith do us a favor and just don't suit up next time. Just for just don't. You are a liability. You've been given every chance in the world. We've We've ran the ball with you. We screened the ball to you. We try to get you deep in the game when you are there. And this was Texas game all over again. Texas game and this game opened up the same exact series and same exact way. Texas, you put us behind the 8 ball in a horrible way. Alabama, you put us behind the 8 ball in a horrible way. Open up the same exact there. Mike Bobo calling shots and cooking up things perfectly to get his skill positions in the best matchups. Arian Smith, matchup nightmare on the edge because of speed. Turns out not a matchup nightmare
Yeah,
because
it's a nightmare, all right. It's a nightmare, Clint. No, you had that right.
you must attain the football in a possessive manner to advance the football, something that Arian Smith is incapable of doing, Daniel.
He is who he has always been.
He's told us.
Go away forever, Arian Smith.
I
don't get it.
You mentioned he had one good play.
He had one good play, and it was a down the field block on a Dom Lovett little quick out pass that got us a first down. I believe on that Kirby Death March drive, if I'm not mistaken. Had a nice block on that play.
Great.
That's the end of the list. He could have had 150 yards receiving and a touchdown in this game if he just caught the balls that were thrown to him.
See, that's key.
And really didn't offensively pass interfere, I guess.
And that was, by the way, that was pass interference. Like he pushed off.
It wasn't a lot of contact.
It wasn't a lot.
It wasn't a lot.
But
did he need to do it? No, he didn't need to do it. Do you know why he did it? Because he is so mentally frail that he needs all the space in the world to believe that it's even remotely possible for him to catch this football. It's in his head. He's not well.
Nope. He's talking to Ghost on the sideline, y'all.
We have to stop going to him, coaching staff. We have to stop putting him in the game, coaching staff.
Because do you know who I saw this game that can do more than admirable? Actually, an advanced version of Arian Smith. Tuggle. Ooh, young man, come on down.
Nitro Tuggle looked good.
Yeah.
Limited. Limited. Sure, Arian Smith is the best perimeter blocker on this team, so I don't mind him on it for like that Dom Lovett play. I don't mind him in situations like that. Quit putting him down the field in routes. It's not a mismatch for us. It's a mismatch for the other team. How about Oscar Delp, Clint? Can we talk about Oscar Delp?
Okay, we pointed our fingers at ourselves for the Carson Beck hate. How do we point our fingers at ourselves again for the Oscar Delp? Because we said he's good blocking.
Yeah, well, how about the best hands in this game, and it wasn't close? Of every Georgia pass catcher in this game, Oscar Delp had by far the best hands in this game and was a featured target in this passing game in a way that I, for one, loved and would love to see a lot more of.
Can we get more?
Oscar Delp was fantastic. Carson was spreading it around. The play call we already mentioned.
I think I saw this correctly. I think the 20 yards, we had 6 explosive plays of 20 yards. And I think of those explosive plays, each one was made by a different contributing factor on offense, Daniel.
Fascinating.
Again,
how many of Tennessee's 20-yard explosive plays were from how many different people?
That's a great question. If I could, give me a moment to look down the spreadsheet really quick.
Tabulate the results.
At all. I tabulated already.
Okay.
And there were 0
votes
plays
were counted.
20 yards. Twice, as a matter of fact.
Okay. All right. Josh Heupel is a fraud. He runs the wide splits, Clint. I don't know if you know this, but he splits those wide receivers out damn near to Kentucky.
It's like almost
to the sideline.
Yeah.
He runs them wide. Yeah. So far to the sideline that they voluntarily run out of bounds and make the referees throw their hats multiple times in the game. Which if their average quarterback were accurate, he would have been able to hit him downfield, so that might have come into play. But it would
have been illegal touching, but that's besides.
It did not come into play. No plays over 20 yards for Josh Heupel, but he did run the ball for 6 yards a lot with Dylan Sampson and then punt. So that was good for Josh Heupel.
This is the company that Josh Heupel's in. And Lincoln Riley, Josh Heupel, Mark Stoops. These are your peers. Okay? Lane has lapped you.
Oh, God. Oh,
Hugh
God.
Freeze, Stoops, Lincoln Riley, and you are at the
Yep.
same table at the wedding.
If you get a call from an unrecognized number, it's probably Hugh Freeze calling you, Josh Heupel,
To be friends.
to congratulate you on a heck of a performance that you had.
Yeah,
today.
you did your best there, coach. You did your best. We all
we're
tried.
going to talk about the Georgia defense, players we liked, what we saw today, all coming up right after this.
But first, I want to let you know about FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com. Make every moment more. Daniel and I were over on FanDuel during the game.
My account's looking fresh.
We're looking fresh. We're looking plump over the account because we made a $5 bet. We won that $5 bet, and we got $150 in bonus bets coming back to us because FanDuel takes care of people like us. The official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs, the official sportsbook of Locked On Podcasts everywhere. The only place Daniel and I make our wagers when we give them out, and we made quite a few on this Georgia game. We told you to take the money line. We said lay them points. We also said go ahead and, as Daniel already mentioned, in the first quarter, down by 10, money line with some juice.
Ooh, live bet? Golly, FanDuel's got it all.
FanDuel.com. Make every moment more. Get over there right now. $5 bet wins. You get $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs. Let's talk about this defense. And I want to start.
Okay. All right.
I want to start with two things. One, Kirby Smart's done playing. If you can't perform, you're yanked on this. You're yanked and sat for the entirety of the game. This isn't offense where you can rotate people in and out. And this defense, Kirby says, if you can't do it, I'm done with you. And I'm looking at you, Julian Humphreys.
Yeah. Might want to transfer again this time. It wasn't good. Julian Humphreys got beat early, and then Daniel Harris came in. And the thing about it is I thought Daniel Harris played really good football.
He played immediately they tried testing him, and it was McCoy is a big old receiver.
Yeah.
He is a big bodied guy, and Harris played very well on it, almost knocked it out, came backside, tried to tip it out, couldn't do it because the body shield that happened there only made like a 9-yard gain or something like that on that little quick hit. But the rest of the game, he played well. In run support, he played well. In pass support, he played well. He was fine. He played B+ for me at minimum. It was great. Julian Humphreys, on the other hand, gets exposed, can't track the football in the air. If the football is in the air, there is zero chance he knows where it's at.
He's not involved. He's not involved in the play whatsoever. We're just going to put our hands on the guy, and then we're going to hope for the best. Like, that's it. That's our
Kirby, quick yank with that. But Daniel, the rest of the defense.
How about the return of Smile Mondin, Clint? Because I thought that was absolutely huge. I know he played a little bit last week, but he looked healthy. He looked fresh. He looked like he belonged out there in this game. Took a ton of pressure off of CJ Allen, which I thought was huge. Smile Mondin was fast. He was explosive. He was disruptive. I thought we did a great job of utilizing our inside backers in the pass rush today, Clint. You got to bring pressure on Tennessee when you can. Yep. And Glenn Schumann was aggressive with that. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But I thought the sacks that we were able to have in this game were the reason we were able to get off the field when we were able to get off the field. And so I loved what I saw from these linebackers in particular. Thought Smile had an absolutely unbelievable game. And listen, our defensive front is not legendary. All right. There's no Jalen Carter. There's no Jordan Davis.
No.
God, what I wouldn't give for another Jordan Davis, Clint. But there's not one. We can be soft at times up front. And I use the word soft again today watching this team. Dylan Sampson's freaking good. And this
second best running back in the SEC.
And this offensive line, maybe the best running back in the SEC.
Maybe.
I'd take him. Give me Dylan Sampson over. Yeah, give him to me over anybody in the SEC. Okay. I like him a lot. But this offensive line for Tennessee is very good. But we get blown off the ball way too much.
Way too much.
but the pass rush is there.
Yeah.
And the run defense is good enough.
It's
if
fine.
If we can slow you down, if we can get that 1 yard gain instead of the 5 yard gain,
yes,
all of a sudden we've got you right where we want you. And that's where this defense is able to tee off and really make some things happen. I think we're starting to almost figure it out from a defensive standpoint, Clint, especially up front. And that feels really good for this Georgia
it does
team.
feel really good. A couple quick hitters. Jalen Walker does not ever need to go in pass coverage whatsoever again in his life.
No.
We've said this before. We'll say it again.
No,
if you want a first down, you
no.
find where Jalen Walker is and you get him staring at you and you get him having to move his hips, because any in-cutting route against him, he will not be able to recover whatsoever. Guys, it's impossible for him to. Okay.
Every time Jalen Walker goes into pass coverage, he loses money in the NFL draft.
He does. He does. He is showing himself to be a pass rushing NASCAR specialist, which is not great. Jalen, you need to expand that bag of tricks, my friend. But he did play well off the edge. Michael played well off the edge. The sack production wasn't there, but the chaos was. Kristen Miller played a very good game. I thought
Kristen Miller had his best game. Thank you for bringing that up. Best game of his career.
Best game of his career was tonight, and he showed out. Ingram Dawkins was up and down. He was effective at times, but then he kind of vacated at times, especially on that run in which Samson did make, I think, 22-yard or whatever it was. Touchdown run wasn't great. KJ Bolden is a force, and my gosh, he is an animal. The dude brings it. He hits hard. He runs fast. He's getting the coverages down. You see a lot more communication not be directed towards him, but he's directing it at other people now, Daniel. He's not the one needing to make sure he's in the correct alignment, but he is rather already there getting other people lined up. It's incredible to see. So KJ Bolden, good on you. He's only going to get better. He's peaking at the right time. This defense is showing us that they can match another team, because Tennessee, while not a great offense, is a fine offense enough, again, to only lose one game this season with a okay schedule, not the hardest schedule, but an okay. It's certainly not Texas's schedule. So,
oh God.
Well, Weber State has a harder schedule than Texas. So.
Correct. Can I say something? It is the overreaction show.
Yeah, that's what we're here.
We don't see. Here's the beautiful thing. We don't have to. I'm going to fast forward to 2025 real quick. Okay. But the nice thing is that we were about to fast forward our whole season to 2025 if we lost this game, but we didn't lose the game. And so now we're still here. We have meaningful games left to play in 2024, but just for kicks and giggles, fast forward with me to 2025.
Okay, I'm there.
Am I crazy when I look at this 2025 Georgia defense? I say unequivocally, KJ Bolden's the best player on the defense.
Hands down.
At any position.
At any level.
KJ Bolden is the best player that Georgia has on their defense in 2025. CJ Allen's on that team. Raylan Wilson's on that team. Chris Cole. Justin Williams. Like, there's a lot of talent on that Georgia defense. I think KJ Bolden's going to be the best player on that defense. He's very good.
Yeah.
And he's only getting better. And by the way, UMass this week, Georgia Tech the week after, maybe the SEC championship game after that, and then definitely the college football playoff after that. So he's got a lot more football left to play this year. We're going to be back all week. We're going to be talking about this Tennessee game. We're going to be talking about what's ahead for the Georgia Bulldogs. We're doing a whole episode this week, Clint, about why Georgia fans should or should not want to play in the SEC championship game, because it's about time that we had that conversation. So we're going to give some pros and cons. We're going to talk about what you should think and what you shouldn't think so that you don't look like an idiot in front of your friends. That's just a public service to you. But until then, subscribe wherever you get your podcast over on the YouTube. Interact with us over on X at Dawgs Podcast. We'd love to interact with you over there. He is Clint. I am Daniel, and we are the Locked On Bulldogs Podcast, your team every day, and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.